Yeah, please do. Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. Welcome, everyone. Oh, our service leader is here, so I will hand it over to her right away. Thank you, Sarah.
Good morning, everyone. All right. I want to welcome you all to the University Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Sarah Sullivan. I'm the service leader today. My pronouns are she and her. We're really glad that you've all joined us today. If you want to take a moment and turn off your phone or your ringers or dingers, we could do that. And I want to welcome everybody who is here today who may be new, or it may be your second or third time here. We're happy that you have joined us. And if you would all please take a moment as well to acknowledge the folks who've joined us online. They aren't here in person, but we don't forget about you. We're happy you're here too. Okay. All right, for our committee moments, we're going to go ahead and have people come up here to the microphone. If you have something that is relevant to, the goings-on of the church, things that are happening, while that's happening, I want to remind you of our exits, front, back, garden. Okay. And, of course, our standard one, if you're ill, we remind you to please stay home and watch us online so that you don't share your germs. Sharing is great, but not so much for germs.
Good morning, Margie with membership. You might have seen the sign up there. It says, don't put your coffee cups on the floor, which I've been doing every week, so now I'm not sure what to do with it, except for just hold it. Okay. If you are new to our fellowship, we will be holding a coffee, cake, and chat right after services. Down the hall on the right-hand side, I've made a fruit cocktail cake. We get together and get to know each other a little bit and talk about what our community is all about and a little about Unitarian Universalism. If you're new, please come. Would love to see you.
On Monday, November 17th, which is a week from tomorrow, is the men's support group, and it's potluck, bring your own. Men, people identifying as men. I never can say that exactly right. Anyway, and I'm trying, yes. It's 6:30 here, and would love to have you. If you have not come before and want to know any information, you can see me after.
I'm Janet, and I'm happy to say that we're having our next discussion group meeting, New Inquiring Minds, next Sunday, but before the service at 9 a.m. so we don't conflict with the quarterly meeting. And our topic is going to be a little different. It's going to be money, trust, and technology with an emphasis on cryptocurrencies. And it's going to be led by Sarah Sullivan, my husband Gary Levins, and myself. So I hope to see you there at 9 a.m. in the library.
And I'm Ann with the board. Just to remind you, we do have our quarterly meeting next week. Right after the service, there will be snacks. Please stay. We don't have a lengthy agenda, so I promise we'll be out of here expeditiously. And as Margie was mentioning, this carpet was replaced about a year and a half ago, and we also have new chairs. But we have a lot of coffee spills that are making it dirty. So we're asking you, please, when you go for coffee, drink it by the area up there, or bring your own resealable coffee mug with you, so we can reduce the coffee spills. Thanks. Maybe you were going to say that.
I was going to say that. So anyway, this is Lori and Jill. We're the co-chairs of hospitality. So back in July, Derek, Lindsay, and myself spent a full day cleaning the rug. And now it's blessed again with coffee stains. So we had a long discussion about what we could have to do, including one which was no coffee before service. And decided that the thing we'd start with was being very careful about taking coffee back and never put a coffee cup with any coffee on it on the floor anywhere at any time, because that's where most of it's coming from. Okay? So not to be nasty, but it is a lot of work to clean this rug, and they are new and beautiful, and it just is a repetitive problem. Okay, next thing is, next week, hospitality will be providing a heavy snack between service and the meeting so that you don't have to be lightheaded during the congregational meeting. Next thing is, Jill has a sign-up sheet to give you the opportunity to serve coffee to everybody so they can spell it. So please, see Jill after service and sign up. We really need some more people. And the last thing is, our next potluck is the December 14th, Sunday, and it's going to be holiday themed. So whatever food means the most to you for your holiday.
Hi, Alyssa here on behalf of SAC. So as you can see up here, we are participating in Basket Brigade, which is a local nonprofit. Our local chapter covers Lake, Seminole, and Orange counties for families in need of having a Thanksgiving dinner. As we know, things are really hard right now, and a lot of families are more concerned about just feeding their families right now, and the holiday might be on the back burner. So this is a way to get 1 or 2 or even 3 local families having everything they need to have a happy Thanksgiving. We will be having, it is next week, we'll have our basket out front and center here. In the notable news, we'll be sending out a list of the types of things they are needing. Currently, it is hanging out in the corner there if anyone brought anything today. And if we have, there is a list on the box if anyone wants to check it out today, and we'll also be sending that list out through Notable News. But if we have any extras, we also have other food drives going on, which Laura is going to talk about, and we're going to take some of those extras and help feed our other drives as well to get the most amount of families fed and taken care of during this time of need. And speaking of which, here's Laura.
That was a good transition. Hi, Laura Owens, also a Social Action Committee. So it might be a little confusing, but the Share the Plate recipient, for those of you who don't know, is Hope of Apopka that services the community out there that has financial challenges, many of whom are immigrants. Not all. Everybody is welcome there but that's who we're collecting for through Share the Plate for your donations, as well as a separate collection for food items and the information is listed on there. And thank you to all of you who've already donated. I see it's filling up a lot. I'm going to make a trip this week. The other one is, as Alyssa said, the Thanksgiving Brigade. She already talked about that. And then this is the ongoing UCF Pantry, which is really important. But if you're kind of choosing between the UCF Pantry and Hope of Apopka, you have to pick. Please do Hope of Apopka right now, if you have to choose. And the last thing is, the Women's Support Group is tomorrow night at 6:30. And it's potluck, it's here, and if you plan to attend, please contact Marilyn McGinnis, and it's also in the notable news. Okay, thank you.
Hello, I'm Chris. I am here to talk about sex, actually. We teach OWL here and have always offered it for junior and senior high school youth. And we are going to do... Our Whole Lives, which is a wonderful sex ed program developed by the Unitarian Church and the Church of Christ. Is that correct? United Church of Christ. Anyway, so in conjunction with 1U and Judith, Joey and I and Judith would like to offer adult OWL classes for the first time. And right, and so anyone identifying as an adult would be welcome, I know. And we need, I'm sorry? No, we won't card you. And so if you would let either Joy or myself know if you are interested, we are trying to plan ahead and get some idea of what size group. They will be held here, which I think is really nice for our group. And we're going to try to start sometime in January or February, I think. Probably 6 to 8 classes. So if you would just let us know if you're interested, that would be great. Oh yeah, we're doing it as in conjunction with, together. So there will be 1U people here joining us, which would be great. Thank you.
Hi everyone, Tay with RE. As said, next week is the quarterly meeting, so I just wanted to add that childcare will be available and pizza will be available for kids who are staying. So any parents who would like to stay for the quarterly meeting do have the option, and we will be back there for the entirety of it. So thank you.
All right. So I had opening words prepared, but I'm going to say something a little more off the cuff today. I arrived here at church at 9:40, 9:35 in order to prepare for the service leader, to then have choir practice, to then, do it. And I realized I had forgotten my phone, which normally I'd say, oh well. But today I was expecting an important text after service that I had to respond to in a timely way. And so I really had to have it. So I recruited Martha and Ann to help out in case I didn't get home, and I got in my car and I was driving home and I was saying, I can't believe I forgot it. I was so stupid. I know this following of the corporate. And then I took a breath and said, wait, I'm a human. Maybe this is a chance to show some grace for not always having it together, because that happens to all of us. And so I'm going to not only extend grace to myself, but should any of you need grace for something that happened this morning or this week, I'll extend grace to you. Please do it to yourself as well. It's one of the things we can do for each other. All right, our opening music is All Creatures of the Earth and Sky. Janet will lead, Alicia will play.
Please rise in body or spirit. All creatures of the earth and sky, come kindred, lift your voices high. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Bright burning, golden beam, softening moon with silver gleam. Alleluia, alleluia, Hallelujah. Swift rushing winds are wild and strong. White clouds I sail in heaven along. Hallelujah, hallelujah. For rising morning in praise rejoice. High stars of evening find no voice. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Cool flowing water, pure and clear, make music for our life to hear. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Don't flame of fire so strong and bright, and bless us with your warmth and light. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Our chalice lighter this morning is Chase. His pronouns are he and him. He is here, and his joy is that he got a haircut. If you would join me. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. And our affirmation: love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. We move to our time of joys and concerns. By sharing the major events in our lives, we bring joyful ones here. And if there are more difficult ones, we bring them here as well, because we're here to share, to uplift, and to support. So if you have a joy or a concern that you'd like to share, please come up. I'll bring the microphone to the front. Remember, this is being broadcast to the whole world, so be mindful of what you say.
So I have a concern. I'm sure you guys have heard it through many of the announcements, but obviously with assistance issues for families, SNAP, and other food assistance programs. I have the pleasure of working on my daughter's PTA board at her school, and I was informed that 80% of the students or thereabouts are on some form of food assistance. 60% are solely reliant over weekends or over breaks on food the school is able to provide or SNAP assistance. And so, you have these the Night's Pantry and these other groups, but also I just highly recommend touching base with the PTAs or the schools in your community and just seeing what can be offered there, because I believe, found out that we need to provide about 150 Thanksgiving meal break meals to kids. Otherwise, they're going to go that entire break without a guaranteed, lunch or dinner. So it's just recommend tapping in and checking.
My joy is that it's winter and we don't have to suffer in heat.
Hello, everybody. David McElroy. I have my coffee with me. I did sit it on the floor, but then I thought, no, I'm not going to do that anymore because I'm a spiller. Okay. Anyway, for those of you who know, I do a one-man Christmas carol where I play all the roles. December 5th, 6th, and 7th, we're doing it at Imagine Studio, Performing Arts Studio in Oviedo, and 2 nights are going to be filmed. So we would love for you to participate if you can, the 5th and 6th, but if you don't care about anything about a film, I have a matinee on the 6th. And I appreciate it. Chloe McElroy is directing it, and we have a professional film crew, so we're nervous and excited.
I have a joy that I'm going to my friend's birthday party today. My joy is that my mom just got back for a work trip, and she went to Amsterdam.
My joy is I got a haircut.
Hi, Lori. I've got a joy and a concern. The joy is that after 1 year, since the fire the day after Election Day, they are finally going to be repairing all the units around me. My concern is, please everyone keep positive thoughts. On Monday and Tuesday, they are lifting the entire roof off of my building for the repair. So please, positive thoughts, they don't drop it.
Hi, I'm Colleen Roberts. I'm the name you see on the emails. And I wanted to spread my joy today that I wanted to thank everyone for the support that I received. In case you don't know, I collapsed after the fiesta, and I had to have an implant put in me for my heart. But that's not a concern, because I have a joy instead, and my joy is that I have the privilege of thinking positively. I could say, oh, I had to drive the back roads the whole way here from Lakeland this morning. But instead, I'll say, I got to be here with you. So, trying to think positively.
I'm trying to think positively as well. I'm Martha, and my joy hopefully will be going to Connecticut this coming weekend to celebrate with the mother of my Colombian family that I adopted 8 years ago now. They've been in my life, and their first grandchild is coming in January, and next Saturday is a baby shower. So good vibes that our flight will not be canceled, nor will Abigail's, because it's also her birthday weekend, so I'm flying her in from Nashville. What better to do than celebrate a new baby?
So I am very happy. My youngest daughter-in-law had brain surgery on Wednesday. They removed a tumor off of her pituitary gland that's been causing all kinds of issues for years. Her headaches are gone already. They say her hormone levels have stopped spike. They're normal. So, yay, I'm so glad for her. I'm just excited, yeah.
Hi, Alyssa again. I have a joy and a concern. My joy is that yesterday I spent all day at Disney Springs with two different sets of friends. I asked one of my good friends to be in my bridal party. He said yes, yay. And the second set of friends I met with a little bit later there, we had not all gotten to be together in about 6 years. One of them lives across state. And just the stars never aligned to get the three of us all in one place again. So it was really nice to hang out with them. My concern is, as you may have heard, there is a case going to the Supreme Court regarding the legality of gay marriage. Just vibes that the court just decides not to even hear it. We'll know more next week, so just good vibes for that.
Yeah, right when I got to propose to my fiance, gay marriage might go out the window. So, good vibes for that, please. My name's Chloe McElroy. I use she, her pronouns. My sister is in Los Angeles this weekend because the person who did our beautiful mural in the Wiggle Room got married. Her name is Miranda Harmon, and she used to be a member here, but just wanted to send nice, good vibes out to her. there. But Caitlin actually got really, really sick while she was out there too. So she didn't mask on the plane, and I think she should have, but that's neither here nor there. But just sending good vibes to her. One, that she continues to feel better and that the sickness goes away, and that her flight doesn't get canceled coming back because of the government shutdown and air traffic controllers and all that jazz. So just good vibes to Miranda and her new hubby, and good vibes to my sister. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Jake. My joy is that Tiffany, whom a few of you have met, is visiting me today from Jacksonville, and I'm very excited.
I have a joy that you might have gotten a preview to. I got married last month. My wife is not here, but I know she would be excited to be here and celebrate with you all as well.
Wonderful joys. You always appreciate them. We also appreciate the people who are willing to share their sorrows. You would just take a moment to think on all of these. Support the people who also didn't share but have weight or joy in their hearts. Thank you. No, we're okay. Okay. Time for all ages. Let's welcome Tay Barton up. Oh, great, Reverend Kathy.
Now I'm afraid even to put my water on the floor. But let's appreciate the hospitality, people. Yeah. So I have some objects with me today for Time for All Ages. You might call them pieces of equipment. One is a bottle of hot water. The other, we're going to call it a surfboard. Okay, is a surfboard. Anybody have any guesses what the story might be about? Someone surfing on hot water. There's a sermon in that. I'm going to work on that. Yes. The water. Those are good. Those are good guesses. Anybody else? Oh, one more. When you find yourself in hot water, find a surfboard. Well, no. Now, some of the stories that I tell are imagining stories that aren't real, they just are something that help us think about something. But today is actually a real story. Most of the time, and I should tell you that it comes from my colleague, Karen Johnson. Most of the time, when wild animals can take care of themselves in every season, including winter. How many have ever encountered winter? Okay, so we all know what it would mean for a animal to be stuck on the ice. We know what ice is? Okay. So this could have happened anywhere with different people and different birds, but this took place a year ago in December of 2024 in Iceland, which is a small country way up north, further than anywhere in the United States except Alaska, and it's on the other side of Greenland, a territory of Denmark. The capital is largest city is Reykjavik. Now, last year on a social media page in Reykjavik, there was a report that a young swan was frozen to the ice and seemed to be dying. Yes, and everyone said that. As what happens when someone posts something like that, lots of people commented. Some with questions, some with opinions. Is it possible to help? What can we do? What did the swan do to get itself stuck? Lots of worrying, lots of wondering. And then someone named Kirsten Langerberger, who is described as a naturalist, now I don't know if that's her job or her hobby, but it doesn't really matter, responded to the post. Kirsten wrote, "I'm on my way with the necessary equipment." So what do you think the necessary equipment is to save a not fully grown swan frozen to the ice? Why do we need the hot water? Melt the ice. And the surfboard? It's frozen, but if that ice breaks, we don't want to be in that cold water. Okay. Kirsten brought one more thing. Anybody have a guess what it might be? Well, I thought about that too. She said something to stop the swan from biting her, because swans, although they are beautiful, they can be mean and bitey. Yes? Pick ice would be a good one. I'd be a little concerned about hurting the swan, but that's not a bad idea. One more. A medical kit, maybe, yeah. Some swan food, yeah. Okay, well, you know what? What she brought was a friend. And Kirsten, with her friend and the help of the thermos and the backup surfboard and maybe some of these other things too, and probably a bunch of people cheering them on, were able to thaw and free the swan, which not too long later flew away. Now, when we have a hard thing to do, it's good to have the right supplies, the necessary equipment to help us get it done. And it's even more important when we want to help someone or some other being or the whole planet. We need to use the equipment we have, or gather the necessary equipment, or create it. And sometimes the most important time is right now, and the most important thing to help, and the most important person or being is the one who needs help right now. The necessary equipment might not always be a thermos of hot water, although I can think of a few times when it would be helpful. The necessary equipment might not be a surfboard. I can think of fewer times when that might be helpful. But I'm going to say that in most situations, a friend or a companion or a helpful stranger is definitely something that could be considered a necessary equipment. It's so important that we not go it alone. Doing things together turns out to be a kind of necessary equipment for life. And with that, I will encourage you next week to remember, you can get your phone out right now and make yourself a reminder, to bring the necessary equipment, the food that will help feed our communities as we go through the difficult time that we find ourselves in at this time. So thank you very much for listening to my story.
How often do you get to hear a story in church about a surfboard? I mean, that's awesome. All right. Our interlude and offering is your opportunity to support our congregation and an organization in our community that's supporting others. So as we heard earlier, it's the Hope Community Center in Apopka that will be our share of the plate. And our music today will be the choir, the UU choir, singing Over My Head. All right. Our children's recessional, if you would join me. We love you and bless you and send you on your way. We love you and bless you today and every day. Reverend Kathy Schmitz is a UU minister and a longtime friend of our congregation. You all met her earlier with our surfboard and hot water. She speaks here monthly and provides expert assistance to our board, and we'll be speaking today about, slang, texting. Well, we'll see.
Let's start with a meditation. So I invite you to do whatever it is that helps you be ready to meditate, breathe, relax. This is titled That Which Holds All, and it's from Reverend Nancy, the late Nancy Schaefer. Because she wanted everyone to feel included in her prayer, she said right at the beginning several names for the holy. Spirits, she said, Holy One, Mystery, God. But then, thinking those weren't enough ways of addressing that which cannot be fully addressed, she added particularities, saying, Spirit of life, Spirit of love, ancient Holy One, mystery we will never fully know, gracious God, and also Spirit of this earth, God of Sarah, Gaia, thou. And then, tongue loosened, she fell to naming superlatives as well. Most creative one, greatest source, closest hope. Even though superlatives for the sacred seemed to her probably redundant, but then she couldn't stop. One who made the stars, she said, although she knew technically a number of those present didn't believe the stars had been made by anyone or anything, but just luckily happened. One who is an entire ocean of compassion, she said, and no one laughed. That which has been present since before the beginning, she said, and the room was silent. And then, though she hadn't imagined it this way, others began to offer names. Peace, said one. One my mother knew, said another. Ancestor, said a third. Wind, rain. Breath, said one near the back. Refuge, that which holds all. A child said water. Someone said Kuan Yin. Then womb, witness, great kindness, great eagle, eternal stillness. And then there wasn't any need to say the things she thought would be important to say. And everyone sat hushed until someone said, Amen. You do believe in God, don't you? I don't remember what prompted the interviewer to ask me this. I do remember my response. I lied. I said, of course. And we moved on. I was in my early 20s, and I was applying to be a big sister in the Big Brother, Big Sister program, and this was my intake interview. And it was obvious from her tone that there was only one right answer to the interviewer's question. But that was a long time ago, pre-seminary, and today I would give a different answer, and the interviewer would probably be sorry she asked. So let's talk about God. Some of you may be rolling your eyes. Oh my God, she's going to talk about God. Some of you may have a little spark of joy. Oh my God, someone's finally going to talk about God. In either case, I doubt any of you, or many of you, were calling on a deity. And and the way that OMG has no matter which way your OMG leaned, I get no blame or credit. Our topic today was given to me by Louisa. At the auction last spring here at the congregation, I offered the right to suggest a sermon topic. Note, I did not give that person the ability to tell me what position to take on the topic. Louisa was the highest bidder. You might be interested in the email in which she gave me the topic. She said, if you can include a bit about the following small subject in one of your future talks or sermons, I'll be so grateful. Who is, what is, where is this thing called God? Why is it so often blamed for all the wrong or bad things that happen? Why is it often offered thanks for all the good things that occur? Why are so many people challenged or offended by the word God? Yet, how is it that many still exclaim OMG for pleasant and unpleasant occurrences? In discussion with Janet about music for today, she replied, at least she didn't ask you to create life. Text and social media seem to have made the OMG ubiquitous, seemingly without regard to theological position. So are we or are we not invoking a deity? Are we offering praise or gratitude? Are we expressing blame or crying out for help? Maybe, maybe not. I grew up saying, oh my gosh, or oh my goodness. For me, it was just an expression of surprise, excitement, or dismay, no matter which G word I was using. In recent years, I've gone through periods where I land on seemingly random words to use instead of all those potty and sex-based words more popularly employed. My most recent was sugar plum. I honestly didn't know what a sugar plum was till yesterday. I decided I should look it up. But it was like, if I slam my finger in a drawer, I go, oh, sugar plum. For me, they're just words, but they aren't for everybody. I became aware of this in 8th grade. It was after school and we were waiting for our buses and my throat was dry. So I attempted to step back into the school to get a drink of water. Mrs. M called my name and told me I couldn't. I tried to explain. She told me no again. I was angry. I slammed out the door and I said, I thought under my breath, Jesus Christ. To which Mrs. M said, Kathy Schmitz, do you always say Jesus Christ when you're mad? And I turned and I said, yes, I do. So off to the principal's office I went. On my eventual bus ride home, I thought about this all, and I decided that even though I wasn't offended by the term, I shouldn't offend others where they were. I was ready to apologize. Until I got home and found out that my mother had already been called and told that I was suspended. Fortunately, my parents felt that this was excessive punishment and went into the school the next day, so I felt supported. And though the incident has made a lasting impact on how I think about the language I use, I never did apologize to Mrs. M. So language matters. Not unnecessarily offending others matters. Even when we don't share the same beliefs, even when the words don't mean the same thing to everyone. And words often don't mean the same thing to everyone. If someone tells me they believe in God, what do I know about them? Not much. I have follow-up questions. I remember it being at an interfaith luncheon once when someone I knew to be part of a non-accepting tradition said, well, we all believe in the same God. And I thought and have always regretted not saying, no, we don't. I do not believe in your homophobic God. There was a time when theists, and this is people in our tradition and other liberal traditions, would say to atheists, tell me about the God you don't believe in, because I probably don't believe in that God either. I found this rather off-putting because the implication was, if only you would think about God in the right way, the way I do, you would believe in God. But still, it's easier sometimes to talk about what God isn't rather than what God is. So let's try that for a minute. You already know that I don't think God is homophobic. I don't think that God takes sides in ball games. I don't think God causes some people to miss a plane that subsequently crashes while allowing 200 other people to board. What are some things you don't think God does? Anything? Cause hurricanes? I can repeat too. Not misogynistic or patriarchal. Not hateful. Yeah. Doesn't order genocide. Yeah. There we go. Now we're going.
Doesn't interfere in elections.
Doesn't interfere in elections. Doesn't send people to hell. We're going to get to some of these ideas. One right here. Doesn't damn it. Yep. Okay. Oh, one more.
Doesn't cause nuclear bombs.
Doesn't cause nuclear bombs. Right. So thank you for that. I think that we are generally on the same page here. Now, one of the things that I think about God is that I understand why people choose to worship God, but I don't understand why a God would demand worship. I mean, like, why? Why do they need that? But then there are some things that are less clear for the theists among us. So, for example, does God ever meddle in human affairs? Does God answer prayers, cause miracles, create disasters? We're going to go no creating disasters, but miracles? An interfaith group, a different interfaith group I was part of years ago, we used to joke, have a debate about whether or not it was effective to pray for a parking space. We worked together at a hospital that had a very crowded parking lot, so it was relevant. If we believe that God takes action in the world, then when things happen that are bad, are we to blame? I mean, God must be punishing me, right? I must have done something wrong for God to let this happen to me. Or do we have grace, as Sarah so beautifully modeled for us? I've seen some pretty bizarre claims, and you've mentioned some of them, about why natural disasters happen. And in spite of the stories of the Old Testament, I can't get behind that kind of a punishing God. I am fond of mocking this when something good happens, like the beautiful weather at Pride recently. I was like, it's because God loves us best. This is not actually something I believe. And I worry that this blaming of self and others can really cause a problem, but you don't need to have a belief in God to fall into that trap. We've often heard people unfairly blame the victim. Well, you know, that swan brought it upon himself. Right? What was he doing on the ice? Sometimes stuff just happens. Feel free to translate. Or some other times, a belief in God can lean toward deism, which is sometimes called the watchmaker. So it's this creator who set everything up but then leaves it to run its course, thereby having no direct accountability for current events. And then I had classmates in seminary in particular, and I do think I have colleagues that would say, God doesn't make bad things happen, but God is the first to comfort us. God is the first to weep when bad things happen. There is a pamphlet available from the UUA, Unitarian Universalist Association. Its title is Unitarian Universalist Views of God. Different authors offer short narratives that describe God alternately as life force, mystery, the web of existence, the biblical God, community, love, and relationship. It's fair to say that Unitarian Universalists cover a lot of ground when it comes to ideas about God. And whether or not I am in a Unitarian Universalist setting or in an interfaith one, I have a couple of rules I try to live by. One, I don't take people's faith away unnecessarily. I don't challenge it. if their beliefs are helping them and not hurting them or others, cool. I try hard to be theologically multilingual. I try to understand the meaning of what is being said. I figure if we can acknowledge that people have different learning styles, we ought to be able to acknowledge that people have different spiritual styles as well. The world has so many belief systems. I mean, a lot of times we tend to think of the big name religions, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, that are monotheistic, though some are Trinitarian in theology and others are Unitarian with a small u. Buddhism is not theistic, although in some places it incorporates earlier local traditions that are. Hinduism is something. Depending on who you ask, it is either polytheistic or ultimately monotheistic, in which what others sometimes see as separate gods are really just manifestations of a single god. Or maybe our Western need to categorize just doesn't work to understand the depth and breadth of the tradition. I personally have always appreciated the way they seem to hold such a diversity side by side and intermixed. There are more, of course, Sikhs and Baha'is, indigenous traditions, and more. We have various, and we have variations within traditions. But what about us, Unitarian Universalists? Oh, quick peek at our history, the origin of the name. So, just before I go into this, how many people think they know where the names Unitarian and Universalist came from? Okay, it was worthwhile doing this. We are the merger of two traditions, the Unitarians and the Universalists, that merged institutionally in the 1960s. They are distinct offshoots of the left wing of the Protestant Reformation, by which I mean they were Christian heresies. Heresy, by the way, derives from the Greek word to choose. We are people who choose. So, first, let's talk about the Unitarians. The term comes from the understanding of God as a single entity, rather than existing in three persons, God, Jesus, Spirit, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Unitarian thought can be traced back to the early days of the Christian church. It became a heresy in the year 325 with the Council of Nicaea, when the doctrine of the Trinity was established. You don't need to remember this, I just said it so those who know it can say, I knew that. Institutional Unitarianism in this country emerged when liberal ministers in congregational churches, largely in the northeast part of this country, started preaching more and more about freedom and tolerance and reason in religion. They were accused by conservative ministers of going astray. They were called Unitarian. It was a slur word. Until in the early 1980s and 1800s, sorry, it would be really different. In the early 1800s, William Ellery Channing preached a sermon titled Unitarian Christianity, and he claimed the title, the name Unitarian, for our movement. You will also hear it referred to the Baltimore sermon because he preached it in Baltimore. After that, congregational churches, primarily again in the Northeast, went one way or the other, some becoming Unitarian and others taking a more conservative route. Many of the latter would eventually become UCC churches. Those who disagreed with their congregation left, went down the street around the corner and built another church. So if you go to many New England towns today, you will find a Unitarian Universalist church and a UCC church right near each other. And the irony, because oh my God, you know there was much heartbreak, right, to leave your church. There were actually lawsuits, but that's a different sermon. It probably broke up families and friendships. And today, they're our closest cousins. They are the people with whom the Our Whole Lives program was developed. So when you think we have irreconcilable differences with people, let's remember that in the long run, things may all come back around. So now the Universalists. The term comes from universal salvation. Those who would become Universalists rejected the dominant theology of their day, we're talking late 1700s, that theology that was prominent said that God decided whether, before you were born, whether you were going to heaven or hell, and nothing you did mattered. Talk about OMG. What kind of God sends people to hell willy-nilly? Universalists believed that all people would be saved or reconciled with God. I note that they disagreed amongst themselves about how that worked, but they did agree that it worked. And their pulpits were adorned with the words, God is love. So Unitarians believe God is one. Universalists believe God is love. Many of their ideas overlap, but they remained separate for a long time, partially for class reasons. That, again, is a different sermon. But it was the youth who finally started working together in an organization called Liberal Religious Youth, or LRY, a precursor to YRUU, a precursor to Beacon. It was the youth working together that helped the two movements to understand that they could be stronger together, leading to consolidation in 1961. Now, they worked out many institutional differences, but one thing they didn't do is work out the theological differences. So this meant that when you combined reason and freedom and tolerance with love, there was a lot of room for new things to emerge. And they have continued to emerge. From God is one, we evolved to include humanists, atheists, and agnostics. There used to be a quip that Unitarians believed in one God at most. Today, that quip no longer holds up as we acknowledge the presence of various strains of paganism and indigenous traditions among us. Today, we have a wide range of beliefs among us. We have people who use comfortably the word God, and they know what they mean when they say that. We have people who are atheists. They find no meaning in the use of the word God. And we have everything in between. In the middle, we have, I might call them agnostics, or people who believe in something akin to the Force. We are all over the map. We have people who believe that God is a verb, that God is what we do, that we are co-creating the universe with God or without God. We have people who think that God is in our hearts, that God is in community, that God is in the relationship between us. So, let me check on how we're doing on Luisa's questions. Who is, what is, where is this thing God? The answer is all of the above. Why are so many people challenged or offended by the word God? Because it has been forced upon them, misused, used as a weapon, or used to justify horrible actions. I would wish for those people to know that there are people who have a different understanding of God. Yet how is it that many still claim OMG for pleasant or unpleasant circumstances? I do think it's largely just an expression. But why is it often blamed for all the wrong or bad things that happened? Why is it offered thanks for the good things that occur? Here I'm going to turn to Ralph Lewis, MD, in an article he wrote titled, Why Do Bad Things Happen to Good People? He starts with an excerpt, well, he includes an excerpt from Harold Krishner's book by the same title. Quoting, let me suggest that bad things happen to us in our lives do not have a meaning when they happen to us. But we can redeem these tragedies from senselessness by imposing meaning on them. A better question would be, now that this has happened to me, what am I going to do about it? Later, Lewis sums up his own beliefs. The universe has no purpose, but we do. We give it value and meaning. We give value and meaning to life. People can and do care, even if the universe doesn't. And so we come to what I think about God. I started my UU journey as a Unitarian. I loved that freedom, tolerance, and reason. But I have become a Universalist. It's about the love. As I mentioned last month, for those who were here, when we sing a song that has the word God in it, I usually sing the word love, and it almost always works. And if it doesn't, I wonder whether we should be singing that song. As a side note, for those of you who are here on Easter, I suggested that we can replace the word Jesus with hope. And sometimes that works better for us. Every week, you begin by reciting together your affirmation that begins, love is the spirit of this church. And our revised Article 2 of our value that expresses our values says that love is at the center. There are other values that we hold dear, but love is at the center. I don't know whether God exists or not. I'm sure love does. We are storytelling people, meaning-making people. I believe that we create meaning rather than finding it. I believe that helping other people, being of service, is one of the most important ways that we create meaning. So I believe that God is love in our hearts, in our communities, and around the world. Love. Love is how we give value and meaning to life. Thank you.
Thank you. That was wonderful. If you would join me as we extinguish the chalice. Our closing music is Go Lift It Up. It will be performed by us. Gary will lead us, and Alicia will play.
So please stand if you're willing and able. And Alicia will give us a short introduction. I think we've done this before. Oh, lift it up, Lord, bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace on the brightness of day. Oh, lift it up, Lord, just your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace on the brightness of day.
For my closing words, I just want to hearken back to my opening words. I hope that you are able to give yourself or people that you've encountered during this past week some grace for the things that weren't perfect. But as we go out into the world today and this week and this month and this year, remember to give grace to those around you and to yourself for being a human, imperfectly perfect. Thank you. And we'll have our postlude now. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, everyone. And remember that there will be coffee, cake, and chat for people who are new or want to learn more about our congregation. So thank you. Have coffee.